All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. We are so wonderfully thankful for everyone who's joining us online, in person. I have today here with me our wonderful California MENA Civil Rights Coalition, along with over 40 organizations that have not only sponsored but endorsed, celebrated, advocated AB 91, the California MENA Inclusion Act. Give it up for that, everybody. Amazing. I'm going to invite Amin here to give us our little opening, and then we're going to get started with our day. Thank you so much.
Count MENA in. Count MENA in. Count MENA in. Yeah. We're here right now in front of you. We're Iraqis, we're Armenians, we are Palestinians, we're Lebanese, we're Iranians. All of us here gather because of one cause, and that's to count Middle East, North Africans in, here in California. All these identities I just listed are not recognized in state categories. We are not recognized in any demographic forms. When we go for healthcare, we're not recognized. When we try to go for small business, we're not recognized. All this causes detrimental impacts, residual impacts down the line that impacts our health, our lives, our futures, and indeed the future of the state of California. But we're here to change that, and we're pushing for our recognition, and we're here coming to Sacramento right now to fight for that change. And we're happy to say that AB 91, which is authored by our best friend here, John Harbedian, co-authored by our best friend here, Perez, who I'm a proud constituent of, that they have pushed through this bill on consent through the First Committee Judiciary. And right now, we're facing our most challenge, which is the Appropriations Committee. We are alive that we're able to make this happen. We're very confident that we're able to make this happen, push through. As Sophia said, this coalition has come together with 40 different Middle Eastern, North African led, Middle Eastern, North African founded, and we serve Middle Eastern, North African people all across the state of California. There's more than 20 organizations involved in this coalition, and there's more than 40 other organizations that support us. Additionally, we are supported by thousands of people across the state of California. I want to give a shout out to the cities of Anaheim, the cities of Glendale, with Ellen Etchetron here, the city of Bell, San Diego County, Richmond County, Sohail Abana with Richmond, who passed meeting resolutions in support of this. We're very proud for this momentum, and I just want to say this community right here is pushing for that change. We are going to make the difference. This is our best opportunity, and behind us, with John Harbedian's leading this by our side, we can make a big difference on this. I want us all to be confident in this. I want us all to be proud of this, because this has been a long time coming and we can make this happen together. So thank you all. And I wanted to bring in our man John Harbedian, who's our main author of this. He's part of our community. He's a good man. Please welcome him.
I appreciate that, Amin. Thank you very much for that introduction, and thank you very much for everyone who's here. This is an amazing coalition behind me, and these folks, this coalition behind AB 91, the MENA Inclusion Act, have come throughout the state to be here and to really stand up and say this is a time of visibility, equity, and inclusion for the Middle Eastern and North African communities, and it is time to actually deliver that, and that's what AB 91 does. Right now, 750,000 Middle Eastern and North African Californians are currently designated in data here in this state as white. As an Armenian American, I don't consider myself white. That is not accurate. It also is a designation that erases culture. It leads to underrepresentation, and it also leads to an inequitable distribution of resources, as we just heard. And that's what AB 91 is really trying to get at, a misclassification that needs to be righted. So under the Inclusion Act, what would happen? Well, starting in January 2026, all MENA categories would be separated for demographic data in the state of California. This is a critical step. The state of New York has done this. We should be leading on this. I wish that California did it before New York, but you know what? We will do it second, and we will make sure we actually deliver on that. And I think we should be clear about why we're doing this. Accurate data means better outcomes. This bill will help California budget smarter, plan better, and serve more equitably the communities that stand behind me and that would benefit within the MENA community. The MENA Inclusion Act is about recognition, respect, and responsibility. It's time we give MENA Californians the visibility they deserve in data and in policy. And I'll tell you, we are just messengers. The Assembly members who have co-authored this, my co-author, Senator Perez, who is a champion of the MENA coalition behind me and the MENA communities in our district, but throughout California, we cannot thank her enough for her championship of this bill. But I will tell you, we are messengers of a bill and of an idea that this coalition behind me has been fighting for years. For years. They have put this on their shoulders. We are happy to get this over the finish line, and we're going to do it this year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Assemblymember Harbedian. Let's give it up one more time for him. His historic election was an incredible moment for our community and exactly what the stakes are in this fight. So we're very, very thank you to have you as our author. We're really, really honored to have you representing us up here. I just want to next invite up another wonderful advocate for our communities, especially marginalized communities throughout the state of California. I want to just say this as somebody who is part of your district and who has seen the work that you have done, not only in your current term, but actually your entire career. The communities behind you not only have your back, Senator Perez, but we know every time you're up here that you're fighting for us. And so we want you to know that we will always have your back. And it is my incredible honor and privilege to next introduce Senator Sasha Renee Perez, who will also give us remarks as one of the co-authors of AB 91. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here today. Good afternoon. I'm Senator Sasha Renee Perez from the Senate District 25, which includes the communities of Glendale, Pasadena, Altadena, South Pasadena, and I actually represent one of the largest Armenian communities in the entire state of California, probably one of the largest MENA communities in the state of California as well. And I'm really honored to be a co-author of AB 91 and so proud to be working on this initiative with Assemblymember John Harbedian. I also want to give a shout out to a couple of the elected officials from my district who are here today. We have South Pasadena Mayor Sheila Rossi, who's here. Glendale City Councilwoman Ellen Asatrian, who's here. And Glendale City Clerk Dr. Susie Abajian, who's also here. So it's really great to see our local leaders travel all the way up here to Sacramento because this is such an important issue for them. And I have to tell you, these are folks that have been advocating for this for several years now, as the Assembly member just mentioned, and it is really thanks to them and all of their hard work that we now have this bill forward. It's vital for people's demographic backgrounds to be accurately represented when we are capturing data. AB 91 allows people to trace their roots back to the Middle East and North Africa. By establishing a MENA category and state demographic data collection, we can better serve Californians. This matters because policymakers and researchers can better understand these communities. We can identify inequities in healthcare, education, and economic opportunity. It's also important because data collection has wide-ranging impacts, affecting how federal dollars are dispersed to meet the needs of certain communities, how congressional districts are drawn, and how certain federal anti-discrimination laws are enforced. Just as the state legislature passed a law to disaggregate the data for our API communities, AB 91 will help us to better represent almost 1 million more Californians. It's time we recognize the MENA community's accurate identity so we can better make policies and provide better service to our constituents. Thank you all so much.
Oh, amazing. Absolutely. All right, I have the privilege next of introducing Rashad El-Dabah, who is a community warrior, really, and executive director of the Arab American Civic Council. Let's give it up for Rashad, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rashad El-Dabah. I'm the founder and executive director of the Arab American Civic Council. We're based in Anaheim's Little Arabia. We're here today to demand visibility, dignity, and justice for our immigrant MENA communities. As an immigrant myself, I came to California 27 years ago to continue education. When I filled out my college application, I checked the Asian box to indicate my racial background. I didn't find a box I could identify with, so the next thing that made sense was Asian, since Palestine is geographically located on the Asian continent. But people like me are told by our government to identify as white. We're white without the privilege. Over 1 million MENA Californians, including Arab Americans, Iranian Americans, Armenian Americans, remain invisible in state data. Let that sink in. Nearly 1 million of us are not counted, not seen, not protected. California is home to Little Arabia, Sacramento, Little Armenia, and many more neighborhoods with large MENA populations that remain invisible in state data. The MENA Inclusion Act is not just about checking a box, it's about recognizing our humanity, our struggles, and our right to be represented in the systems that govern our lives. Arab Americans and MENA communities are on the front lines from enduring the consequences of genocide and displacement to being targeted by surveillance, hate crimes, and discriminatory policies here at home. And yet we remain statistically erased. Without a MENA category, our health needs go unmet, our youth remain underserved in our schools, our immigrant-owned small businesses are overlooked, and our communities are ignored in policymaking. The invisibility is not accidental, it's systemic, and the MENA Inclusion Act is a critical step toward correcting that injustice. We're not asking for special treatment, we're demanding equal recognition. We're demanding data equity so that our communities can access the resources, protections, and opportunities we deserve. This moment is about finally being seen. It's about making sure that California lives up to its promise of equity and inclusion for all its people. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rashad. Up next, we have Richmond City Council members, Sohaila Vanna. Thank you so much.
Give it a love. I'm an Iranian American. We have a large presence in the Bay Area, and also we have Tehran in Southern California, but we are not recognized. We have fought so hard for decades for the queer community to come out of the closet and be recognized as who they are. Yet we ourselves are still not recognized as Middle Eastern, North African yet. We do need that recognition, not just for rights, representations, and resources, but for the sense of identity, to recognize us as who we are. We met with Assemblywoman Buffy Wicks, who is the chair of the Appropriation Committee this morning, and she mentioned the budget issues. And I asked her, if you have a family with 10 children, you don't have enough money to feed everyone, would you ignore the smallest child? We are that the smallest minority in California, but we do need recognition. We deserve it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. All right, up next, I have the wonderful privilege of announcing former mayor and current council member, Ellen Asatrian, if you'll please come up. Thank you.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Before I start, I wanted to say a very big thank you to Assemblymember Harbedian and our Senator Perez for leading this effort, as well as Glendale's very own Assembly members Nick Schultz and Jessica Caloza. We're lucky to have 2 Assembly members in the state of California. But for those that don't know, the city of Glendale is the 4th largest city in Los Angeles County, with the largest concentration of Armenians in California and in the United States. Glendale is also home to the largest number of immigrants of any city in California, yes, more than Los Angeles. Over 53% of our residents are foreign-born. I'm also standing in front of you as the first Armenian American woman, the first immigrant woman to be elected to the Glendale City Council and to serve as mayor. This issue is deeply personal and is all too familiar, having been a community activist before taking on the elected role. I'm here to speak in unwavering support of AB 91, because millions of Armenians who currently call California home are completely invisible in the way of data. The Glendale City Council and the City of Glendale has submitted an official letter of support back in January. As local policymakers, it makes it impossible for us to properly create programs, obtain state resources for our largest population. Armenians are the second largest MENA population in the state of California and make up roughly 40% of our city's population. Everything from language access, housing, healthcare, sustainability, small business support, to districting is being impacted by this invisibility. Including a MENA category with the Armenian subcategory will allow for more accurate demographic representation, ensuring that Glendale's data reflects the true diversity of its residents. Improved data collection will strengthen our ability to advocate for targeted funding, programs, and services that directly benefit our community. Additionally, this effort aligns with our support for federal initiatives, including the push for the Armenian subcategory within the proposed MENA category for the 2030 census. While COVID shed light on the many government barriers for our most vulnerable communities, the lack of data, and therefore the lack of support for the Armenian American community, was even greater. At the onset of COVID, as a private citizen at the time, realizing that all state programs were inaccessible to the Armenian population, I personally created the COVID Resource Center and brought forth community volunteers to help educate, translate, and help community members fill out applications for programs ranging from small business to low-income families and seniors. And in essence, doing the state government's job. This is simply unacceptable. The devastating wildfires currently impacting California have once again exposed the consequences of the failure to recognize the Armenian American community. Glendale is part of the LA County, which also houses the largest Armenian population. The failure to count Armenians accurately has resulted in inadequate funding for disaster preparedness and emergency response initiatives, leaving Armenian American families, small businesses, and vulnerable community members without the support they needed during the crisis. This is not an isolated issue. It is part of a larger pattern of exclusion that has led to gaps to healthcare, small business support, civil rights protections, and education funding. Our inability to collect accurate data on Armenian Americans directly impacts our ability to advocate for resources. Just yesterday, the California Assembly and California State Senate commemorated the 110th anniversary of the Armenian Genocide of 1915 and spoke to the 2023 ethnic cleansing of the Armenian people from their ancestral lands in Artsakh. Since then, thousands have found home in Glendale and all over California. We are people that have been victims of genocide, erasure, and also discrimination. The first wave of Armenian immigrants in California came with other communities who were not allowed to buy property and enter white establishments. And unfortunately, our community is still experiencing systemic racism, as shown recently in the CFPB report that found Citibank purposely discriminated against applicants of Armenian descent and illegally fabricated documents to cover up its discrimination, yet we are marked as white. With the lack of data, it's extremely hard to track and address these cases of discrimination for a community that's so vulnerable. We cannot call ourselves the Golden State, yet deprive minority communities, including the Armenian community, the same golden opportunities allotted to others. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Asatrian. Up next, I want to invite Colette Kavanaugh from the American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee. Let's give it up for Colette. Thank you.
Good afternoon. As she just said, my name is Colette Kavanaugh, and I serve as the National Director of Education for the American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee. And I am honored to stand with the California MENA Coalition, Civil Rights Coalition, to lend my voice in strong support of AB 91, the MENA Inclusion Act. I also speak to you today as a former 6th to 12th grade history and geography teacher. And as educators, we understand that our responsibility extends beyond academic instruction. It includes safeguarding the well-being of our students and advocating for their communities. Education can be a pathway to increased knowledge and opportunity, and it can also be a mechanism for equity and systemic change. In the past 2 months, I had the opportunity to co-facilitate professional development sessions for teachers, administrators, and school counselors across San Diego Unified School District, alongside fellow Arab American educator Aida Salah and Dr. Ryan Fan and Farida Erikat from the Majdal Center in San Diego. And these trainings, which focused on the experiences and needs of MENA students, were met with strong engagement and positive feedback. The district has expressed interest in expanding this work, and other school systems across the state have indicated similar demand, all recognizing how greater knowledge and understanding of the MENA population will enhance education and student experiences for everyone. So these efforts demonstrate the critical role that public education plays in shaping inclusive practices and responsive systems. However, to best address and assess the needs of our students, our work must be mirrored at the policy level. AB 91 addresses a long-standing gap in state data collection practices by requiring the inclusion of a Middle Eastern or North African category, an essential step to ensure MENA communities, including our children, are visible in public data and therefore eligible for appropriate services, protections, and resources. We at the ADC urge the legislature to pass AB 91 and affirm the rights of MENA Californians to be counted, recognized, and equitably served. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Colette. And up next, we have Glendale City Clerk Susie Abadjian.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Susie Abadjian. I'm the City Clerk of Glendale, California, city with the highest concentration of Armenian Americans in California and in the U.S. What many may not know about me is that I'm also a Syrian Armenian immigrant and a third-generation refugee of a genocide. From the beginning of our immigration to California, my family and I have faced the same struggles as other immigrant communities and underserved communities. However, I have always felt invisible because every time I would be asked to fill out a form, my demographic information on a governmental survey, health survey, employment, or school application, I would not see a checkbox that I identified with, one that I would actually be able to check. So I would often put other and sometimes skip the question altogether. This has been the experience of my community together with many other MENA communities in California and in the United States. The lack of adequate data on MENA communities make it very difficult and sometimes impossible to understand needs, equity gaps, issues impacting the community, ranging from educational outcomes for students to health data, workplace discrimination, redistricting, and other issues. It also makes it really challenging to create programs or obtain state resources for our communities. Although it's estimated that 40% of the city of Glendale, as our former mayor stated, is Armenian, and over 50% of the population are immigrants, what we see in California data and also federal data is that 60% of our city is white. This hides the realities that our residents face. Recently, we published a report on the status of women in Glendale, and the report for the first time disaggregated the data on Armenian women from the white category. And what we found was that 60% of women that were classified as white were in fact Armenian. We also found that Armenian women had higher rates of unemployment and lower rates of higher educational attainment than women as a whole. The median earnings of Armenian women were significantly lower than other women, and poverty rates of Armenian women were significantly higher than women as a whole in our city. The only reason we found all this is because our city did the labor of disaggregating the available data, which really our state government and our federal government should have done. I'm here today to speak in full support of AB 91, the MENA Inclusion Act, because this will enable MENA communities for the first time to be actually counted in California and will enable us to track and remedy equity gaps that have gone unnoticed and unaddressed for far too long. I'd like to thank Assemblymember Harbedian for authoring AB 91, I would also like to thank co-authors Senator Sasha Perez, Assembly members Jessica Pelosa and Nick Schultz, and all other state legislatures who have signed on as co-authors and supporters of the bill. Thank you all, and good afternoon.
And up next, I have the pleasure of introducing Dr. Arman Harbedian from Burbank. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Barev, salam, and marhaba. Or khoda is goodbye. Why did I start with 3 hellos? Because I'm Armenian from Iran who grew up in the border of Kuwait and Iraq in the city of Khorramshahr. So I've been influenced by all 3 cultures. So when people ask me where you're from and what identity, do I look white to you? So it's been a confusing journey for a lot of individuals, especially people with different, exposure to different cultures like myself. So this is something that, it's been important, not only for our communities, but also to everything else my colleagues talked about, but also it's very important as an educator and the future generation. So our son can identify himself as an Armenian. What differentiates us, people from Middle East, even living on the border of Kuwait and Iraq, 2 countries next to each other, and Iran and Armenia, 4 different cultures, 4 different languages, with a lot of history and, so it's important that this is also something that our children and the future generations can identify, so they will not forget about their past, but also we can educate people more about where we're from, but also how we united we are in the Middle East and how we work together and how our cultures cross-pollinate. So I'm very happy that this is coming forward. I'm very proud of our Assembly member, John Harbedian, our Senator Sasha Perez, and my Assembly member, Nick Schultz, from the Burbank area. I'm also proud to say for the first time in the history of Burbank, not only the city acknowledged the month of April as the Arab American Heritage Month, but the school board as well. We just passed it last week, acknowledging the month of April as the Arab American Heritage Month. And within that, we also recommended books for kindergarten, books for middle, and also for high schoolers. So all the viewers were able to look at these books brought forward by the librarians. So if you ever get a chance, go look at it. These are wonderful books. But also, I think this is also important because now we can also encourage current but future generations also to speak different languages. That makes us also very competitive in the global markets. When I came to the United States, I was told not to speak English, not to tell people where I'm from. I'm glad I didn't listen to that advice, but I think it's something that we need to also bring forward for our next generation. So I'm very proud of everything you're doing, and thank you very much. Shukran.
Thank you so much. Up next, I have Dr. Ryan Fan from Majdal Center of San Diego.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. My name is Dr. Ryan Fan, and I serve as the Advocacy and Campaign Manager at the Majdal Arab Community Center of San Diego. We're proud to stand with the MENA Civil Rights Coalition in support of AB 91, the MENA Inclusion Act. Since the Majdal Center opened in 2018, we've served thousands of Arab and Arabic-speaking community members, providing essential direct services, cultural programming, political advocacy, and economic empowerment. We're intentionally situated in East San Diego County in the city of El Cajon, which is the highest concentration of Arabs in any city in California. Many of our community members are of Iraqi, Syrian, and Palestinian origin. East County has also seen an enormous influx of Afghan immigrants in recent years. In response, we've opened our doors to share space with Afghan organizations. However, all our Middle Eastern and North African communities are absent from the data at the city, county, and state levels. Without accurate statistics on employment, education, income, we cannot effectively serve our community. As a public educator with over a decade of experience, I've seen how a MENA category has the power to provide data that is critical to justify funding for culturally competent teachers and staff, language programs that support literacy in home languages and English, as well as translation and interpretation that provide language access to critical health and legal information. We've seen how previous data bills have reduced wasteful government spending by improving the targeted allocation of resources to specific groups within Asian and Pacific Islander communities, as well as Latino and Mesoamerican communities. You got it. MENA communities need to be counted. The Mejdal Center joins the coalition in urging the legislature to pass AB 91 and count MENA in. Thank you.
Absolutely. Say it with me. Count MENA in.
Count MENA in.
Count MENA in.
Count MENA in.
Absolutely. All right. We have just a couple more speakers. We're going to next invite up Basha Jamal from the Council on American Islamic Relations, CARE, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Basha Jamil, and I am the Policy Manager at the Council on American Islamic Relations, Los Angeles, one of 4 regional offices that make up CARE California. As part of the largest Muslim civil liberties organization in the country, CARE California proudly stands with our partners in the MENA Civil Rights Coalition in support of AB 91, the MENA Inclusion Act. Across our statewide offices, from San Diego to Los Angeles, the Bay Area to Sacramento, we provide legal services, civic education, and policy advocacy, serving thousands of individuals each year. And we see firsthand how MENA Californians are consistently rendered invisible by the very systems meant to serve them. Our community members come to us with urgent needs: asylum claims, hate crime reporting, school bullying, workplace discrimination. And yet in state data systems, they are marked as white, a label that does not reflect their lived experiences and often blocks them from accessing services or protections. Being labeled white doesn't shield someone from surveillance or Islamophobia. It doesn't get you an interpreter at a hospital or protect your child from racist bullying at school. It doesn't stop a landlord from denying you housing because of your name or your accent. This is why data equity is a civil rights issue. If MENA communities are not counted, then the harm that they experience is not tracked, and what is not seen cannot be solved. AB 91 is not just about a checkbox. It is about visibility, it is about dignity, and it is about justice. California has long claimed to be a sanctuary, a place that protects immigrants and uplifts diversity. But that promise is currently being tested. We are witnessing rising hate, censorship, and federal attacks on our communities. Now more than ever, California must lead with clarity and with courage. We cannot just say we value inclusion, we must show it. AB 91 is a concrete way to protect immigrant communities and uphold California's values. CARE California urges our elected leaders to pass AB 91 as a necessary step toward equity. Let's ensure that MENA Californians are finally counted, not as an afterthought, but as an essential part of California's future. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, and up next, I have El Tayyib from the Arab Cultural Center in San Francisco Bay Area.
Thank you, guys. My name is Al Tayyib from the Arab Culture and Community Center in San Francisco, the town that recognized the Armenian genocide as an official genocide, according to their books, about 20 years ago, but still do not count the Armenians as a community in San Francisco. We have the most beautiful Armenian Cultural Center, by the way. I love to have a building next to you guys one day. We are a city, I think, that has more shawarma and powerful places per capita than anywhere else. But yet, the Arab American community, the Armenian American community, the Persian American community are not still counted on numbers. We still do not get the respect that our community deserves. Last year, most of the people who were running for the mayor of San Francisco, not a single one of them would talk to San Francisco Arab community. So by sending just a simple letter showing our numbers, 3 out of 4 called the next day. And the 4th person who did not call, I was so happy, and I made sure her team knows that she lost by 2,000 votes while we are 18,000 members in the committee. Next time you disrespect our committees, you are not going to win any elections in the Bay Area. We are a community that has been there for a long time, for almost over 80 years. We have Arab policemen in San Francisco in 1917. And still, the San Francisco PD does not have a single person who could translate for our committee when they get stopped for traffic or something like that. Enough is enough. Our committee need to be tempered, need to be respected. We need to show our numbers with the 911 dispatchers. We need bilingual dispatchers who speaks our languages. We need bilingual Arabic English, Armenian English, Persian, Farsi English 911 dispatcher. When a new immigrant mother has a kid who needs attention and she doesn't speak the language, she has nobody to help her. So enough is enough. Hopefully we're going to see that in 1/1/26. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely, and thank you, Altay. I know you continue to be not only a community advocate, but really a mentor to so many people in our community. So I just want to say thank you for being here. All right, everyone, we're going to be wrapping up, but we just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who came out today, to all of these amazing organizations behind us, council members, electeds, community advocates. One of the most important things to know about AB 91 is that this is really a community-driven bill. Are y'all with me? Yes. Because at the end of the day, it's our communities who are standing up for ourselves. This is our civil rights moment in history to not only define ourselves, but to build the power we need. My name is Sophia Arman. I'm the Executive Director of Armenian American Advancement Network, the co-chair of the California MENA Civil Rights Coalition. We are honored that you came out today. We are honored to be here with you, and we're going to pass AB 91. Thank you so much, everybody. Let's give it up for all of you here.